To see who's going to go first. This is a scene out of the anime. Odin's Apophis facing off against the Blue Eyes White Dragon strategy. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what type of plays are made here. And it will be very interesting to see if Andre has done his research on this brand new set, because keep in mind that Maze of the Masters was out on Wednesday, technically, and officially on Thursday. So there's going to be a lot for him to try and learn and navigate and understand what they do and how they interact. But it looks like we're starting off with Lordy Load. This is going to be, is that Lordy Load? It's a very, very shiny Lordy Load, if that is. So it looks like Lordy Load has been activated. I believe you will be searching off your Primite Ether Barrel. Yep, straight off with the normal summon of the Primite Ether Barrel. This one usually searches you out your Primite Drill Beam, which can provide you as a very, very good form of interaction. But it can also be something else as well to kind of give you a different bit of a strategy. It seems if there's any kind of reaction or integration from Andre himself, whether he has any interaction to stop this, but it looks like the Ether Barrel might be resolving. You also need to keep in mind as well the secondary effect of the Primite Lordy Load can sometimes come out to give you access to a normal monster from the deck. It looks like Emily is going into Blue Eyes.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe it's actually the other way around.
Yeah,
But or maybe we're gonna just witness a mirror match. We're gonna get confirmation on the deck lists from the players.
It seems that it's Andre piloting the Blue Eyes at the top, and it brings out that amazing Ghost Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Sure. It's just the cameras,
Yeah. So going straight into the Link one of Blue Eyes White Dragon and then being able to get both of those on the board. I believe he used the secondary effect of Lordy Load, which is quite interesting to get himself into the Hieratic Seals, which is going to give him a very nice sort of interaction during his opponent's turn, alongside the Primite Drill Beam, if he is able to either reveal a non-effect monster in the hand or another Primite monster. Remembering as well that is their all-important errata or change to the text on the Primite Barrel, which means it will only come back during your standby phase, not the standby phase. And it looks like Emily has started off with Kashtira Fenrir. So at this exact moment in time, keeping the strategy very, very hidden, because Fenrir doesn't really give a huge amount away, apart from the fact that it is an incredibly powerful extender, starter, you name it. Fenrir can lead it to itself to be a very aggressive out to this Hieratic Seals, but then it can also branch itself into another Kashtira monster, so that if the Hieratic Seals was to be used and Fenrir was to be returned back to the hand, that would then leave the field completely open for a Kashtira Unicorn to hit the board, which can then add even more to the presence as well. So it looks like the Fenrir is going to attempt to go battle phase to try and get rid of that Hieratic Seal or tempt out that interaction. Oh, it looks like we're going to be using the effect to target the Lordy Load to banish that face down as well.
Makes sense.
Very interesting to see if Andre responds in kind by using the Hieratic Seals. I think that he's well aware that there could then be a follow-up Kashtira monster coming down. And it is quite insane to believe how powerful a single Kashtira Fenrir can be against this, what would say a simplified Blue Eyes board field state, but still very, very effective.
Yeah. At the same time, it makes you wonder if this is going to be the case, then Andre could have just used the seal earlier on at the start of the battle phase and prevent the effect. But yeah, it seems like he is going to act right here. And we just quickly move to main phase 2. All right.
Yeah, it looks like Andre was able to reveal a Blue Eyes White Dragon in the hand for the effect of the Primite Drill Beam, which in turn will negate and pretty much dealt with that Fenrir outright. This does mean that Emily has used up her battle phase, but this means that we can then go terraform in to search out what looks like the planet Rysoth, and this will work its way into Kashtira Unicorn, which we all know if Fenrir is good, well, Unicorn's definitely on the same level, if not a little bit more. This will then allow the ability to search out Kashtira Birth, which could, in theory, bring back the Kashtira Fenrir, which is going to be incredible bit of recursion here. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what type of interactions Andre might have from the hand or the field. So activating that Hieratic Seals, he can still return the Lordy Load, which is exactly what he's decided to do. And then he's going to be using the Tribute effect. Oh, there it is, and chaining the Fluoros, double Fluoros.
Double Fluoros, wow.
Okay. I mean, that does explain why he brought back the Lordy Load, leaves him with a completely empty board. And Fluoros can be quite damaging here for Emily, because if they are going to be special summoning down any type of Kashtira monster, that will then provide the working through into the extra deck that could then provide more draw power for Andre.
At the same time, I guess there is a universe in which you can just get the Unicorn, get the Birth, bring back the Fenrir, not give them pretty much any draw. Unfortunate hard drawn, the only targeting deck. Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. But you can just pass, just get some searches, and this is all right.
Completely agree with you. I feel that this board, even with the 2 Floroses already being activated, you can pretty much be safe leaving it here. Oh, but we're going to see the brand new Temple of the Kings. So Treasures of the Kings, which is the brand new field spell that has come out in Maze of Masters. And this is where the hidden strategy, well, not so hidden because the title is on the screen for you, for Andre at least, is going to be the Apophis cards. Now, keeping in mind that the Kashtiras have not used up the single normal summon of Emily's turn yet, so being able to access the Apophis cards, which can work their way into the brand new Man with the Mark as well. The consistency of this engine is going to be very, very interesting, and it looks like Andre is going to be reading these cards, so there might need to be a bit of the unknown in regards to this as to how he should navigate around these plays. Emily, as you've already mentioned, can play quite reserved and hold back, not allowing Andre to draw anything into the Fleuros, but then also still being able to maintain a very powerful board presence to face Andre during his turn.
And here you get to see the additional effect of the field spell. When you have 2 or more set cards, you can just add the card and mention the Temple of the King. In this case, the Man with the Mark, it seems like, is going to be the choice. And as you have mentioned, no normal summon has been used, which means we are not stopping. And essentially, I mean, it will be interesting to see throughout this match what this engine really can accomplish. But you know, it can do quite a bit. You can set up multiple negation, and we see a Veiler. Okay. We have already used the Fenrir, but we can still go for the Unicorn.
Yeah, I think this unicorn is going to be quite important as well, as there are, now that we've already gone through one of the Blue Eyes Spirit Link monsters, it looks like the Spirit Dragon was chosen on this one, so that's one less of the Synchro that Andre has access to, and it does look like it's going to be a pass here. Now, keeping in mind, we know that along the back row is one of the brand new Apophis, the Serpents, and this one could be special summoned as a normal monster, and that's going to be quite a form of interaction alongside the effects of Fenrir and, of course,
absolutely,
Unicorn as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty good deal because you get to access this Womp deity and essentially negate up to 2 face-up cards from your opponent until the end of the turn. So it doesn't matter if they're spell monsters or so. It's a pretty good form of interruption.
Yes, and all of this was well under double Fleuros, and then you still have the aggression of the Kashtira monsters themselves, which will see the plays go through. And let's see how Andre can navigate through this. He does have the Primite Beryl, which is going to be coming back from the graveyard to the hand, and this is going to allow him to normal summon that again. We do know that he has Lordy Load in the hand and a Blue Eyes White Dragon, so the knowledge is well and truly there.
And here comes the second copy of the Synchro. Now Andre out of any. Let's see how he will fight back.
Yeah, so taking away the Spirit Dragon can be a very pivotal point for the Blue Eye strategy. Oh, and there's a Dominus Purge as well. So that is another very, very interesting. I mean, the fact that it was that set or did that come from the hand?
No, it's set.
That was set. So the fact that it was set means that there is no repercussions in regards to the lockout of the different attributes. And I believe that Purge is light, fire, and dark fire and not wind. Water. Dark fire and water. Exactly. There we go. Always trying to differentiate between the two. It looks like we're going to be recycling that drill beam from the graveyard, which can still be quite useful because that will act as another form of negation. It'll be very interesting to see if Andre is playing any rank 4s with these 2 barrels on the board. Would be very, very, like a Exoton Knight could be quite an interesting one. But I would like to think that Emily, when she got to look at the extra deck, might have taken that option away from him.
Indeed.
So it looks like we're going to be activating the Lordy Load. I still want to see the secondary effect of getting that Blue Eyes from the Blue Eyes to the board. Maybe even a rank 8 play would be quite interesting. Not that you'll be able to activate the effects from that point on. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this is going to be navigated.
Yeah, you can see we're just asking some clarification because the interruption from the Apophis trap card is still right there. The Swamp DT can come at any point to negate 2 cards from Andre, or at least cards up to the number of continuing face-up traps we have.
Yeah, we still have 1 set unknown, I believe, in rotation. And, of course, Fenrir hasn't used its effect as of yet. So at a certain point, we might see those starting to interact. And it looks like Lordy Load may be either a target or is being questioned as to what might be coming from this.
Yeah, I guess there is also some consideration to then use the birth to banish, 3 cards from the graveyard later on. So
Correct, yes.
could be quite annoying.
Well, I believe we do know that there is a Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard. All of the barrels are luckily for Andre, are no longer in the graveyard. So I suppose it's trying to maximize the targets you can banish from his graveyard in order to kind of hold this Blue Eye strategy back a little bit. But it'll be very interesting to see what develops from here, what Andre can produce. Obviously, we've already gone through the Hieratic Seal, so whether there is a second one in his extra deck. There is no dedicated tuner on the board yet, which would be very, very interesting because he was able to get another level 1 tuner. The 2 barrels and the tuner would obviously make a level 9, if there are any level 9 synchros left. Whether he plays the 3rd Spirit Dragon or not waits to be seen.
Yeah, only 2 are in this extra deck. And also, I just noticed he's only on 2 Fuvolos in the main deck, so he drew both. Yeah, quite maybe not the matchup for it, at least in game 1, but yeah. I guess just some clarification on the Lordy Lord at the moment.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at the Treasures of the King, see if there's any type of protection. So the Treasures of the King allows you to set an Apophis trap on activation, and then as you mentioned earlier, 2 or more set cards on the field, or a trap in your graveyard. You get to add a monster that mentions it. So it looks like that is pretty much the end of the effects in regards to that one. You've also mentioned the brand new Apophis the Serpent. So it could be special summoned as a normal monster, but then you also get to set the Apophis trap, which we've already seen be activated. If it is sent to the graveyard, you go to add an embodiment of Apophis from the deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So it looks like there is a bit of recursion on the board as well, should that Apophis the Serpent be sent to the graveyard. It does look like we are going to be using Birth to banish the Hieratic Seals, the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and of course the Spirit with Eyes of Blue. So it does clear out any type of dragon from the graveyard. Banishing the Blue Eyes is obviously quite a good target as well, because if Andre was to go into a second of the Blue Eyes Link monsters, they would be able to tribute that off and then either summon the Blue Eyes back from the graveyard, which would be the most ideal situation, or we do know that there is a Blue Eyes White Dragon in the hand. Luckily enough, a Blue Eyes White Dragon is strong enough to deal with a Fenrir or a Unicorn, but it looks like we are passing straight back to Emily with a possible known of a Drill Beam along the Spell and Trap zone for Andre, and of course the 2 Primites. Emily proceeds to activate the Treasure of the King because there is a trap card in the graveyard as well, so this is going to get another Apophis trap, which can be very, very interacted to Andre's board.
Yeah, seems rough at the moment. Losing those 2 Fuvolos to not really accomplish much. Now Emily free to do whatever she wants with this field.
Yeah, it looks like she's added Anubis, the Last Judge, which is another brand new Apophis card, which the artwork is absolutely amazing on this one. So this card cannot be normal summoned or set, and it must be special summoned from the hand or graveyard while you have 3 or more cards in your graveyard with different names, which exactly where the Kashtiras will come into play. And it looks like we're going to be bridging our way into the Fiend Smith engine on top of that.
Yeah. You can see Andre not too happy about that discovery, but we'll try his best.
So he's going to be activating the Drill Beam in order to banish the Moon, and that will then obviously try and cut off the supply to the Fiend Smith engine. And here comes the response of the original Apophis to negate said Drill Beam. So it looks like the Fiend Smiths are going to be well and truly proceeding to enter the field.
And this is another great interaction. We can special summon the Divine Serpent from the extra deck, which can be fusion summoned, but can only summon by tributing 2 Apophis monsters, in this case, conveniently. And I think Andre has seen enough. Let's see. Some Blue Eyes action from Andre.
Ooh. Okay, from the opening hand, I would like to think... There we go.
Okay.
Oh, I thought he was going to go second there for a second. So he starts with the Lordy Load. That gets responded with the Ash Blossom. Quite effective on that one. That will stop the access to the starter in the form of the Primite. Oh, it looks like he's going to have to be forced to use the secondary effect to grab him a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the structure deck. Not from the structure deck, sorry, from the deck.
That would be an interesting play.
But the day that Ghost Rares come in the structure deck, that would be pretty amazing.
That's it. Oh, and that's just it. Only a Blue Eyes, also in defense, It's quite rare.
2,500 defense is still going to be a pretty strong thing to deal with.
Wow.
It doesn't look like Emily has opened up anything too well for the Kashtira side. We do have Treasures of the King. We already know where this is going to lead. And then a single interaction off of Andre on the Man with the Mark coming out could also be quite damaging. As you can see from Emily's hand, there are some very interactive hand traps there. Some of them being very good.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Majesty not letting that Treasures even attempt to resolve.
I mean, makes sense. It pretty much guarantees a +1, and that's it also. Wow. Very different game from the last. Yeah.
Going straight from explosive to very more reserved, I suppose is the right word on that one. We can see that there is what looks like an Effect Veiler, a Ghost Ogre, and a Ghost Mourner in the hand of Emily. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see where these interact. But the very interesting thing about those mixture of hand traps is in a normal game state, they would all be very, very effective.
Yeah.
But if we're just going to go for a Blue Eyes attack beatdown, this could also be very, very different.
That is it. Yeah, 3,000. So, I mean, love to see it. I mean, good old Blue Eyes White Dragon attacking here.
Well, that is the one big caveat as well, is unfortunately Blue Eyes cannot turn into the Link one as it does require level 4 or lower dragon. Oh, here comes the Ghost Ogre on the loady load.
Okay. Sure, I guess.
I mean, it's probably one of the very few chances you could use it, because you would like to feel that unless Andre has top decked his True Light, that's probably not going to be set. But then we haven't seen a normal summon. We haven't seen any interaction. Ooh, normal summon of the Effect Veiler to work his way.
Good old way. Yeah, this is 2016 Blue Eyes action. And I mean, it does the trick. Here comes for the first time the Spirit.
Yeah, so the Spirit is still going to have that onboard, on-field negation for the graveyard, and then have the ability to tribute itself to special summon out one from the extra deck, which can lead itself into either a Moonrose Dragon, which can return a card from the field to the hand, or, of course, the brand new Lightstorm Dragon to deal with any spells or traps. And that looks like how Emily wants to work the way into the Treasures of the King again, off of the back of the Man with the Mark. So it'll be very interesting to see what Andre has set along the back row, or the spell and trap zone, and then to see if there is any response to the activation of this Treasures. So it does look like Spirit Dragon is going to be coming out. Are we going to be seeing a Moonlight? Oh, okay, he's going to be going into the brand new Ultimate Spirit Dragon, which does provide with a negation on the board. So it looks like Andre is trying to stop the access through any card of the Treasures of the King, which is actually going to be very, very effective, especially if Emily has opened up multiple hand traps. So we don't know if Man of the Mark was... Oh, looks like Emily is passing straight over. So just going to end the board on a Man with the Mark. Let's just check to see if the Man with the Mark has any inbuilt protection. It does have protection while you control Temple of the Kings, but unfortunately, with that not in rotation on the field, that is not going to be able to provide. We do know that the Ultimate Spirit Dragon will be destroyed during the end phase thanks to the effect of... the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon, but then it also allow Andre the ability to revive a dragon from the graveyard, and it looks like he also hard opened up the Jet Dragon, so Jet Dragon will be allowed to summon itself from the graveyard or the hand if another card on the field is destroyed. So he now presents the board with two Blue Eyes White Dragon monsters, one in the form of Jet and one in form of the original Blue Eyes, which has a total of 6,000 damage on the field. We just need to get past the Man with the Mark, so there might be a additional extension to the board that could get it, and there could be with the True Light, giving direct access to Wishes, which would be the ideal scenario here, because that would also allow him to gain access. And the fact that Andre has he has a common True Light from the structure deck, but he's also going with quarter century secret rares of the Wishes, Ghost Rare, Blue Eyes, and Jet Dragon. I would like to think that is a strategy. He thinks probably maybe the common version is a little bit luckier than the ultra rare, but you just never know.
Yeah.
Ooh, discarding the Harpy's Feather Duster in order to grab what I would believe is going to be Sage, and then one other Blue Eye spell or trap, which could very easily be Roar of the Blue-Eyed, and that would allow him to provide another Blue Eyes to the board. And in theory, with that one, you can banish Wishes from the graveyard. I'm just thinking ahead on Andre's, trying to read Andre's mind here, but we could be very easily working our way into a Tyrant Dragon, which should... unless there is a cheeky Nibiru in the hand, be enough to push for game and tie this up at 1-1, but we will soon wait to see.
Yeah, it's definitely looking a lot more favorable. The Jet Dragon putting in a lot of work. It's actually coming from his side deck as a one-off, so it's definitely a good decision here from Andre to bring that in. And there he comes.
So there's the Neo. We're going to be turning this into a Tyrant Dragon. Maybe are we going to see a Synchro Summon with the Jet Dragon? The Tyrant Dragon does have the ability to recycle the Majesty from the graveyard as well, which can be very, very effective, as that will set Andre up with another nice non-target destruction. And it looks like he's going to be turning Sage into the Blue Eyes, and there is going to be the Ghost Mourner. I don't know how much this stumps the plays. I suppose it allows Emily to survive another turn, because unless there is another monster that can enter the field of play, there's going to be 2,000 damage off of the back of 2,400 damage, I believe, off of the back of the Tyrant Dragon, resetting the Majesty, and then the Jet Dragon in for the final 3,000 to tie this up one apiece.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're now about to see. I'm really hoping that one day someone is going to completely hoodwink their opponent and decide to go.
And I
second.
see something. Yeah. I see.
Andre is very, very smiling. Let's hope. There we go. Emily is going to confirm to be going first.
Yeah, Kashtiras are there.
Is that a Phantasme in Andre's hand? If that is a Phantasme, that could be a very, very interesting card to present to the board. Because if he brings that into the field, not only will it make the interactions from the Kashtira cards a little bit more awkward for Emily to succeed with, but it will also provide him with a bit of protection, especially if the Apophis cards will target as well to negate. But we do look like we're going through Unicorn into Birth.
We've drawn again the Birth, right?
I believe the Birth was searched for the Unicorn. Yeah. So we went from the Rice off into the Unicorn into the Birth, and then we're opening up the Fiend Smith Tract. This was a hand that definitely screamed for Draw and Lock Bird.
Bestial. Andre's thinking. Nope.
Okay, looks like that's going to resolve.
Yeah. Bestial's quite popular this weekend. We might be able to share some, stats for you guys, but I picked Magnamut is in the top 5, I think, most popular cards in the main deck.
It looks like there is the Phantasme coming down. This is obviously a very interesting point as well, so that if the Phantasme comes down and the Requiem is tributed off, we're going to get a nice one draw. So that can kind of limit the additional advantage that Andre will be able to gather from the Phantasme.
Yes. At the same time here, we can use the Unicorn, but let's see what Emily wants to do.
Correct.
Probably not.
Looks like we're going to be using the Lacrima just to be sending that Fiend Smith Engraver to the grave. It looks like we're going to be able to get that set up in order to present still a very, very powerful board. Holding back that Unicorn can be quite valuable, just in case there is another hand trap that is activated by Andre. So Engraver is going to be coming back to the field. It'd be very interesting to see if there's a Chaos Angel play here, because that would definitely get rid of that Phantasme nice and easily. Looks like we're eyeing up the Fiend Smith sequence using the Unicorn, which makes complete sense because the Unicorn will then be able to be brought back from the graveyard off of Kashtira Birth. Sequence will provide the ability to work its way into a fusion monster. Looks like we're going for 2 Light Fiends. So we're going to get access to Aerial Eater, which then can, of course, send a Fiend from the deck to the graveyard. Be very interesting to see what gets sent here. Can't think if any of the Apophis cards, if it's only Man with a Mark, and the Man with a Mark is a spellcaster. Does seem that there is some form of interaction. There comes the Ash Blossom on top of the Aerial Eater. That's a very interesting choice. Looks like Aerial Eater is going to be linked off with the sequence. Are we going to start seeing... Yeah, there we go. Good old-fashioned Unchained Lord Yama.
Yeah, all of the different engines in the deck working pretty well. Yeah, you can see Andre, and I do like a lot the pace at which Emily is playing, showing a lot of confidence. Yep.
Working into that Rage could be very, very useful as well. We still have the ability, as mentioned, that Birth could bring back Unicorn. Ooh, Shavara to destroy the Rage. This is quite interesting because we'll be able to use Yama's effect in the graveyard to bring back the Rage, while also still having the Shavara on the board, on the field, and then using the Rage effect to recycle a Fiend monster from the graveyard, in this turn being the Fiend Smith sequence, to be utilized later on in the duel. Ooh, decided to bring back the Aerial Eater. Very interesting.
Yeah, the Paradise, yeah.
Oh, DD High Wave King Caesar.
I mean, it's a premium card against Andre's deck. The only concern is you also need to take Typhon into the picture at some point, because that's something they can always go for and just slow the game down a little bit.
Very, very true. Even with the Typhon coming onto the board, there's still a lot to be dealing with. The normal summon for the Kashtira Fenrir, working the way to bring back the Unicorn. Even with a Typhon, that is still a very, very strong board to be having to try and navigate around. I suppose at the very least you could try it and go to the battle phase to attack with the Phantasme.
There it is. So solid opener through that Phantasme and Ash Blossom set up the Fiend in Paradise. What an opener.
Very, very good. We can definitely see that there is a Maiden in White from Andre's hand alongside an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and, of course, the Harpy's Feather Duster.
Not quite the Harpy Feather Duster.
No. not as much
of his card.
Okay. Ooh, with the Primite Ether Barrel is probably one of the better starts he could have here as well. It looks like there was a Roar of the Blue-Eyed in the hand, so that can still provide with the Blue Eyes White Dragon to the field. And then, of course, you do have the Maiden in White, so there's still a lot to be played here. It's going to be very interesting to see when the High Wave King is chosen to be activated. It looks like Unicorn is going to be taking a look at that extra deck straight away. Now, here's a very interesting one. Do you try and, if there is a Typhon in there, do you take out the Typhon first? Without worrying about the 2-ofs?
It could be the case, yeah, but it's an interesting battle. Yeah, no, not quite. She's taking the long game, and yeah, I respect it. Maybe that could be the case. On the other hand, we have had a read of the Phantasma, because obviously the Fenrir would have been nice, but doesn't line up that well against it. Let's see, do we have any response? Nope.
So Lordy Lodi is going to get direct access to the Drill Beam, I could only imagine.
Yeah.
It's actually quite important that we're going to be able to add this, because that can then provide a form of negation or disruption, depending on what else Andre has in his hand, to deal with or to turn off or banish the High Wave King, which I feel is probably more of an issue card right now.
Okay, we use the Feather Duster right now.
I suppose it's quite good to be using that a little bit earlier rather than filling up your graveyard, because as soon as you put 3 months in the graveyard, that could be very damaging for the birth to be able to banish those cards. Now, this is going to be another very interesting interaction, is whether Andre, you would naturally want to be using Mausoleum. Ooh, looks like the Fenrir is going to be activated on the Lordy Load. Yeah, so the Lordy Load has been removed from the field. It now looks like Andre really only needs to worry about the 2 cards that are unknown in Emily's hand, and then, of course, the High Wave King. He knows that the High Wave King is going to get 2 forms of being able to stop a monster technically entering the field of play. So we're going to be activating a Maiden, which will grant access to the True Light, allow him to place that face up. And that can then in turn work its way to the Wishes. However, we have already used our main normal summon, but remember that the Mausoleum of White will provide you with an additional normal summon of a level 1 Light Tuner, which can very well be the card you search here. This is going to be very interesting to see when this Drill Beam is activated, as I suppose that might be why the High Wave King is held back, as I do feel that that is the biggest threat currently.
It is by far. I mean, it's the only one left as well in terms of interruptions from Emily. And
one very important thing to remember as well is once Andre gets access to, now that he's got access to Wishes, all he needs to do is get access to a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and that can be a Tyrant Dragon. And Tyrant Dragon on its own will be allowed to clear off Emily's field by being able to destroy the High Wave King, Fenrir, and Unicorn all in pretty much a single strike, leaving the Phantasme and whatever else Andre might be able to present to his field an open shot to the life points.
Yeah, it seems like this is the first game in which really Andre is able to go through all of these Blue Eyes combos. And I mean, if there is one that you must choose, it's definitely game 3, the clutch one. And yeah, this is just a demonstration of what that can do and why a lot of people are on it also today. Still has that element of surprise where you're going to be facing against players who are not super familiar with it, and we have seen plenty of time in previous events how strong an advantage that can provide.
Yeah, what I love about the Blue Eyes strategy, no matter which variant you choose to play, is the actual core cards of Blue Eyes are so versatile. They are so good. Like Sage with Eyes of Blue was an incredible addition way back when in Shining Victories, and that's just become even stronger with the addition of Maiden. So it's incredible to see this deck perform right now, and it's actually going to be very, very interesting to see how Andre develops even further. So here comes the effect of Mausoleum in order to target one of Andre's monster. And it looked like he chose to target the Phantasme, which is great because that will increase Phantasme's attack by 800, meaning that it is now strong enough to deal with the High Wave King Caesar and puts the Blue Eyes into the graveyard. So do we take the punt on this one and attack with the Phantasma? Yeah, we go straight into the High Wave King. It now means that Andre is relatively free to continue to combo in his main phase 2. The only way is I believe that in main phase 2 he should have the ability to clear off the Fenrir and the Unicorn if he sees them as a big threat during Emily's secondary turn. It looks like Shavara being sent as a material from the field to the graveyard is going to allow them to get hold of the escape, yes. Which can be quite important because remember that there is a rage in the graveyard as well. It would be very interesting to see if Emily is running Anguish. I still like that red dog. Puts in a lot of work sometimes, and a lot of people don't kind of expect it.
Absolutely. Doesn't line up too well against Phantasmize, so that was the whole point, but yeah. Ooh, and we see a Diddy Crow, though. Interesting, okay.
That is very, very interesting.
From the side deck, yeah.
Diddy Crow on a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Never thought I'd see the day.
Indeed.
Usually expect to see a Bestial do something like that. There's the Roar of the Blue Eyes, so this is actually going to be quite important, unless there is an Ash Blossom to stop that happening. That will still allow Andre to present the Blue Eyes to the field.
Yep, doesn't seem like that's quite the case. I'm just gonna have a little bit of clarification about the effects that have been used, and then Andre can just bring the bad boy up once more. Here he comes.
I think it's also very important that Andre makes the most of this turn. I feel it's very important that he gets access to his Spirit Dragon, because we do feel that during the next turn, if a monster effect was activated, we know Emily has already targeted both Spirit Dragons in the previous turn. This could very well be a way to kind of get that on the board, get that into rotation and work from there.
Yeah, at the same time, time is also important, because there are about 9 minutes left and you don't really want to lose track of that. In this case, he's on the advantage, obviously, being 400 ahead, but that's not quite enough to be comfortable.
Yes, this is very interesting, turning his Maiden into another one of the Blue Eyes Link monsters in order to access the Hieratic Seals. So we are setting up a board with 2 set back row, alongside a True Light, Spirit Dragon, and of course the Hieratic Seals.
No cards in hand, I believe, from Andre, so all in on this with 2 Kashtira on the other side of the field.
Ooh, it looks like very early we are activating the True Light to bring back Blue Eyes White Dragon, which in turn will bring back Maiden. I wonder if Emily is familiar with the attack effect of Maiden, so you kind of don't want to be attacking Maiden too soon.
Are we going to use anything on our side?
Yeah, very interesting. That was a window opportunity for either Unicorn or Fenrir.
Escape is first card that we are gonna use.
Yep.
There comes. No more Phantasmi, at least. Let me check the extra deck if we can see what targets are in there. No, unfortunately. Yeah, no red dog.
No red dog. No Anguish.
No red dog.
only rage today.
Yeah.
So it looks like Fenrir is going to be using the effect to search out another Kashtira. This does provide a little bit more. If Andre was to completely clear the field, Emily would still be able to fight back with, at the very least, a Kashtira monster. So it looks like we're going to be using Rage just as that Link 2 capabilities to work its way into what could only be imagined as a Link 2 or 3. There you go. There's the SP Little Knight targeting the Spirit Dragon. Now, does Andre respond here? Surely you would want to tribute off your Spirit Dragon in order to get another monster out. It will then in turn mean that SP Little Knight will attempt to trigger its own effect to kind of banish 2 more cards on the field. But it kind of feels like a lost opportunity to leave, to not get your effect off the back of the Spirit Dragon as well.
And yes, we are going to do it. And seems like she was about to target the erratic sphere. Is that going to be the case?
I would imagine, yes, that you'd want your SP to survive the turn. Ooh, going for the Maiden. That is very interesting. This is also a very interesting strategy as well, because it does put Andre on a bit of caution that if he does activate the Hieratic Seals too early and choose to return one of Emily's cards to the hand, the field would then be open for Emily to continue to make plays through another Kashtira monster. So we're going to be using Maiden's effect to revive a Sage with Eyes of Blue from the graveyard as it was targeted. I mentioned earlier about the attack kind of effect, but didn't mention it also triggers on activation, targeted effect as well. It looks like we're going into the Moonlight. Moonlight is going to attempt to return a monster from the field to the hand. So will we be seeing the Fenrir going back to Emily's hand with a very empty board? There comes the Paradise, placed there all the way back on turn 1, which feels like feels like an age ago.
Absolutely.
Okay. So there's the Engraver effect, trying to work its way into a Tract. I feel with the Paradise, it might have been a question about missed timing.
Yeah, probably.
Because as we played that sequence back, the last thing was SP Little Knight targeting itself and the Maiden, and then Maiden chained to that. So Fenrir just kind of repairing this game state so that we can Moonlight, target the Fenrir to attempt to return that from the field to the hand.
I mean, not that it matters too much, but yeah. Let's see.
Engraver for Tract, correct. So we just kind of repaired to where we were correctly.
Well spotted, and now the Fenrir could just come back once more. Maybe activating. No. Okay, we're gonna go for the Tract. And yeah, time is ticking. 4 minutes remain, so. It's an interesting spot. Can we find a way to push some damage?
So it looks like we're going to be entering into the Fiend Smith combo, so Laurie coming back to the field. But then we also need to remember that Andre still has a known 2 forms of interaction, one of them being the Primite Drill Beam along the Spell and Trap zones, and then of course we do have the Erratic Seals. So do you get to a point where there is no return for the Fiend Smith engine, and that's when you attempt to use the Erratic Seals to return it? You've also got to remember that at the moment, the Seals is the only weak spot on Andre's board for damage. And as you mentioned, with the time slowly ticking down, you need to kind of mitigate as much damage as you can take as possible.
And this Requiem could be an interesting point for Andre to respond, for sure. Let's see. Seems like it prompts a response, but no, not quite. Interesting.
I feel once the target's been chosen, that'll be Andre's. Is it Andre tributing that? It looks like Andre did tribute that in response. Ooh, returning the Fenrir. So
Fenrir is gone, and then we're gonna activate in a new chain this Erratic Sphere, getting the Jet once more as in the previous game. The key card.
Yeah, Jet is such an incredible underdog in my opinion. I feel that it doesn't get as much value as it should. Very, very good card. The recursion from the graveyard can be invaluable sometimes.
Yeah, this is a wall of dragons to just fight through to get those 400 points of damage that she needs.
Okay, I believe we're going to be working our way into sequence, which is very important that was recycled during the first turn. Massive foresight of play there. And this is where the drill
There it
beam will
comes.
come into play to get
Makes
rid of the
sense.
sequence. I believe that is... I don't think we've seen a normal summon yet.
No.
Oh, okay, another Fenrir coming back down.
Okay.
Fenrir attempt to go... I mean, 1 minute 40 left on the clock. There comes the Majesty to destroy the Fenrir. Leaves with 1 card left in the hand. Is that 1 or 2? Another Fenrir. It just doesn't stop.
Wow.
I'll do it again. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be attacking the
Is that it?
moon. Yeah, SP comes back,
unfortunately,
Maiden
that's
comes
it.
back.
Not quite enough to push damage. And now it's going to be Andre in a very comfortable position.
Yeah,
That blue eye can just attack.
we're just going to go straight to the battle phase. Ooh,
Oh, no, okay.
that's very interesting. Lightstorm Dragon.
Oof. Yeah, we haven't seen this one yet.
Quite surprised he used Blue Eyes instead of the Jet Dragon, but there must be a reason for that one, I can imagine. There comes the Paradise. So we're going to be sending the Lightstorm Dragon. Lightstorm Dragon does have a very nice effect that it will allow Andre to recycle a card from the graveyard as well, which can be quite important depending on what he tries to get access to. So here comes Blue Eyes White Dragon back to the board, back to the field.
Yeah.
So there's still the capabilities for additional Synchro Summon. So he values to get rid of the Fenrir
Interesting.
over the SP
Yeah.
is very interesting. We know that Jet Dragon currently is 0/0. Maybe it's because he doesn't have access to any more Synchro level 9s.
Could be.
And that's
be the
probably why he
case.
wanted the Blue Eyes in the graveyard as opposed to having the Jet Dragon in the graveyard itself.
But it seems like time is pretty much over. So this could be just done any time soon. And
Yep.
there